To get a good sense for what Verasity, Multivac, and Trias are going to do, you sincerely need to keep your eyes on Bitcoin price per my Bitcoin analyses from this week. My Sunday video and my Monday video, I will link you to both at the end of this video because it's so important that you pay attention to Bitcoin if you're a fan of any of these three altcoins. Also, I will leave tags in the description section or in the time bar. You can skip to your coin of interest. Let's get it.
Hit the like button
and subscribe,
or else let's go.
We're going to start off with Verasity, and again, other fans of the Trias and Multivac, if you don't like Verasity, you can skip to your coin of interest. Verasity fans, I think I am getting converted to having a strong interest in Verasity. My plan for 2022 is to wait for a good buy moment per my Bitcoin signals, and I think Verasity is going to be my mid cap of choice for my portfolio. And I don't have any Verasity right now. I'll be very clear with that. However, I don't know. I do have pretty high hopes for this for this coin for whatever next bull run happens. I think it could be a big deal. Anyway, here's what to look for. I'm going to keep this very simple. You need essentially three things, besides Bitcoin analysis, of course, three things to analyze this with a decent amount of adequateness here. First is your general horizontals, which we've gone over on this channel. Second is the 1 hour 200 EMA, which I am on the 1 hour chart, and it's the orange line here, the 200 EMA of the 1 hour, and it's going to be the same for all three of these coins. And then to have your weekly 10 on while you're on the 1 hour chart. So again, we have horizontals, the 1 hour 200, and the weekly 10. And the reason why the 1 hour 200 works so well is because it rides the daily 10 EMA, essentially. It's almost the same line. That's why it's magic line, but it's more magical than the daily 10 because you can see the support and resistance of the 1 hour candles within the daily candle instead of just seeing a daily candle with a wick. You don't really know what's going on because not all the details here. Here, Verasity has clearly gotten above the line. Let's zoom way in. Look at this. It went way above it. Came back to test it. Now it has permission to go up to the next thing. What's the next thing? Let's check for horizontals. Okay, well, the next horizontal is the, we have a local high, another local high, and another local high. Right now it's testing the second to last local high. It doesn't look like it's going to have much trouble getting above that, but what you can do on your chart is go to the local high of February 23rd, hold shift on your computer, if you're using a computer, and draw a straight line. Let me make it like so. Bam, that's the first one. The next little obstacle that it could have is up here, the next local high. And I will label these here in a minute. So I want to show you how to do this on your chart. And the third area, horizontal, is exactly where the weekly 10 is right now. So again, I have the MTF EMA. You can see it labeled MTF EMA. You can type that in on the indicators tab, which is up here. Type in MTF space EMA and put on your weekly 10 as well. The weekly 10 is coming in at about 0.265. Your key levels right here are 0.265 as the first one. And that's where my happy range and my bleed box, if I zoom way out, that's where the happy range box and the bleed box meet, right? So it's one very, very sturdy horizontal. And because two important lines are crossing at once, I kind of see Verasity getting all the way up there. It looks like it's going to want to hit this target or get very close. Maybe 0.026 or 0.0255, something to that effect. It looks like it's going to get very close. And if I had to make a primary guess, out of these three horizontals, what will slow it down? 0.024 is this. Let me actually get these labeled before I go much further here. And 0.00227 or 0.0227. Sorry. All right, these are your three horizontals. If I had to make one, like the best guess that I could give, if I could only choose one guess, I would choose that it's going to come straight up to here. It's going to ignore these. It won't ignore them necessarily by flying up through there. However, you have most likely price paths. Maybe it'll go up to 0.024, come back to 0.0227, use it as support, get back above here, use it as support, then go try that. Something to that effect. That could easily happen, right? And let me go ahead and get rid of that. That's one. Another price path that it could do, that's very common, is it gets above both, comes up shy of this, then uses this as support, maybe wicks below it real fast, uses as support in general, and then comes up. Something to that effect, maybe without that wick down. Just straight up uses this as support, completely ignores this. In all honesty, if I had to pick one fractal in general, with the guess that this will be the ultimate, destiny of it before it turns around, I would guess something to this effect. I would say it's going to completely, totally ignore this line, if I had to make one guess, go above this line here, and then come use it as support, and then ultimately go up, maybe even test wick above here, 0.027, something to that effect. Right? And when I give a target, it doesn't mean to necessarily bump its head and turn around here, but it could wick above, then close the daily candle somewhere around this point. But if I had to pick one guess and one fractal within that guess, even though there are many ways to get to my guess, this would be my super specific, ultra specific guess if I could only choose like one hyper guess, okay? That would be it. However, there are many more ways that it could get up here. I want you to be aware of that. But over the next, I would say, if this is a bull trap before things going, this bull trap could last a couple weeks, really. I think Bitcoin price could easily, it could get up to, it could hover around 43 or 44, I would say, very easily. And honestly, Bitcoin could go ahead and surprise us and go, make a super bull trap up to 50K. I really don't know. But if something more reasonable happens within Verasity Price, and specifically Bitcoin doesn't go above 44K on this run, I would say that this is the ultimate target, and I would feel very comfortable, selling into that rally. And if I held Verasity right now, I personally, if I were looking to be a seller, I don't want to give exact sell strategies because that's safe for my Discord. But if you were in my Discord, you came on and asked me live. So remember, my Discord, I offer live chats up to 8 times a week. People come on there and say, "Hey Tim, I own Verasity. Here's where I bought it. Where, what would you do?" And I would give I would actually I can't give away what I would say because a lot of people in my community are big Verasity fans. But you can make your own decisions if you're not in my community on how to deal with these 3 levels. I have my ideas, and most of my community members know what sell strategies I would use related to these 3. But this is the big one because the weekly 10. Look, this red line is the weekly 10. These are the 3 things you need to know, and the 2 EMAs you need: the 1 hour 200. And if it comes back below here, use it as resistance. Guess what? That's going to be bad. So if my guess is totally wrong and it totally breaks down, it could come up to here, break down, and then it goes below the 200 and then heads down, something like that. Let me go ahead and draw out the 200. Let me draw it like this. It could do... So if it's going to break down, you'll see it go below the 1 hour 200 EMA and then specifically use it as resistance. If price were to go below the 1 hour 200 right here at this moment right there, that's not a death sentence. It's not super bad until it comes up and gets, boom, bumps its head on it. Does that make sense? Because if it does come down, I would actually guess that it'll come straight back up and then potentially use it as support and do something like that. Right? Even in the event, especially if Bitcoin's not tanking, I would say if it came below the 1 hour 200, it would pop right back above. Therefore, it's not, relatively bearish until it specifically uses that line as resistance. That's something to keep your eye on. However, right now, I think the direction is up. But with a war going on, things could turn around very, very fast. So make sure you're keeping your eye on Bitcoin and you understand my analysis on that. So let's move on to Multivac. It feels so good doing an unedited video here. My goodness. So for Multivac fans, before we get started here, make sure that you know that you can go onto my Discord, ask me questions with your camera and microphone on up to 8 times a week. 8 times ask me questions to my face. Links to the Discord within the description section of all my videos. Everybody make sure you follow me on Twitter, @CloseToVerdes with the number 2. And if you simply don't have time to join an online community, but you want exclusive content above and beyond what I offer on YouTube, click the join button right below this video and another video will pop up. And you know what? For Multivac fans here, I wanted to show you real quick, and I'll probably do the same during the Trias section here, but I want to show you some of my daily updates here. Look, before price fell, look at what my daily update was. Look, this box. See how it's on my bottom blue line? And look where price just got rejected by the monthly 10. Do you see that? I did this before. saying come down to the low 37s, right? Now look at Bitcoin price. Look. Remember, is at the bottom of that blue line? Look, that's where my box was. And I was doing that when price was up here, saying I think it's going to have a pullback. And then guess what my next update was? I mean, just check this out. I mean, being part of a community could be pretty dang helpful for you. And then my next update within here was today, before price pumped. Look, I even mentioned, here's my target, 41.2 up to 43.5. Now, in that post, I said, I don't think today will get above 40. I think I mentioned 39.5 would be a target. However, for this move, I really anticipated. So you can see here, this is before price pumped, right? This was early in the morning before price pumped. I had a specific target of this move, at least 41.2, right? And now look where price is. It's at 41.8. And my price target was up to 48K. So anyway, that it's super important. And these altcoins, like MTV, the reason I'm going over this, MTV would not have gone up had Bitcoin not done that. And if you're a fan of MTV and you want, more specific updates like that, especially before I put out YouTube content, I mean, it's going to help you, it's going to help you with your MTV game. I'm telling you. All right, so the same type of analysis for MTV here. I'm going to use the same EMAs and the same structures here. So the orange is the 1 hour 200 and the red line is the weekly 10. And again, I have the weekly 10 on here because I have the MTF EMA, even though I'm on the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour 200 EMA is so powerful because it aligns with the daily 10 EMA, but it's so much better because you can see that this is not simply some daily wick above the daily 10. So imagine this is also the daily 10, even though it's the 1 hour 200. You can see that it came above it, got rejected by this key horizontal at 0.0084, but it's using this as support. So it's very likely to come past here and use and come up to 0.00915. It looks like it's going to come right up and hit that weekly 10. I really feel that the next target for this 0.00, what did I say? 0.0091. It looks like Multivac is going to want to come up here and test that, specifically because you can see, look, it is using this as support right now, this key line, and it looks like it's going to get above here. And the way it gets up to 0.0091, it could get a little ugly. It could go like this, wick down below, but specifically on the way up, not use the 1 hour 200 as resistance. So it did not use it as resistance, use it as support, and then come up. It could do that. Or what's more likely than that price path is it rides this for a little bit, barely wick below it, something like that, and gets above this horizontal, which I'll label the horizontal with a price point, and then comes up. That would be my specific guess for the idea that MTV during this Bitcoin price move is at least going to hit this target. And I would say it could go a little bit higher because I think Bitcoin might charge up a little bit more. It has a chance to, at least. But it is hitting the midpoint of my target from my daily alert already. It's roughly in the middle of that box and faster than what I thought. So anyway, if I had to make one specific price path for my one specific guess, so this would be my guess. If I had to make one hyper specific guess, I think over the next maybe 10 hours that MTV will do something like this. And this horizontal here is extremely important because if I zoom out, you can see that this is the bleed box range and this is the happy box range, and it's where they meet. So right now price is at where those two major macro ranges meet, which means it's an extra sturdy horizontal. So I'm going to zoom back in on the 1 hour chart here, and I'm going to label this at 0.0084. And that's going to be a little hard to get over, but when it gets over it, and uses as support, it could be a nice move here. But the way it gets above there and manages that line, okay, is it could look a little different. Again, this would be my main guess. I think it'll pop over it, then come back down to test it before then reaching the ultimate target, which would be my target for this week. A conservative target of this. That's how I think it could get there. Okay. However, the way it gets there, it could be slightly more bearish. It could come down, do something like this, get way above it, come back down, and then give another try. It could do something like that, even though I would say that would be less likely. But you know what my ultimate target is, what to look out for specifically as support. If it starts losing the support and you see a 1 hour candle come below it and wicks up to the orange line but not getting past it, it's getting ready to drop. And you could also go over to Bitcoin and see, oh, is Bitcoin also dropping? If it is, then you know, shit, this is definitely going to drop. If Multivac were to come below the 1 hour 200 while Bitcoin is still staying relatively strong, it's still a green day, for example, or a green 4 hour candle, you could assume that under those specific Bitcoin conditions, that any drop below this line will likely come back up and hit at least this. You know, it's not going to use the orange line as resistance. So therefore, if you're a fan of Multivac, you need to, depending on how price moves for this, you should always refer back to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is your main indicator for Multivac. I'm telling you, I promise. In summary here, again, the three things: the 1 hour 200, the weekly 10 using the MTF EMA, and this horizontal here that I have labeled. And this would be my price target for the next 3 days. I think it'll get up to 0.0091. All right, let's go over to Trias. And folks who are fans of Multivac and Trias, you can skip through the beginning of the Trias stuff if you want, because I want to show folks who skip directly to Trias. I want to let you know it's very important to have a good understanding of Bitcoin analysis, because I can't say this enough. Bitcoin and its price action is your main indicator for Trias. Trias, among all altcoins, which in general move with Bitcoin anyway, Trias especially moves with Bitcoin. It's been following Bitcoin pretty damn closely, right? It's been bleeding against it a little bit, but it moves with it. Therefore, if you're a fan of this, I think Trias fans could get an extra kick out of, or even joining the YouTube tier, because I give the daily updates for the YouTube tier as well. But, just check out what I did for Sunday here. Check this out. Before the move down, you can see here, price was at the origin line, right? Price moved down to 37K, right? 37.1. I was predicting a pullback first down to that area, low $37,000, right? And that's exactly what happened. And then after the move happened, my next daily update, before the move happened, okay, so the next daily update, check this out. Today, this morning, look at the dates here. Today at 8:11 a.m. So one of the benefits of being in the community or in the YouTube tiers is that you get alerts and you get an idea of what I'm thinking before the markets really start moving typically. So now you can see that the move finally happened and my targets were hit. Actually, and as the targets were hit, I gave an alert. Hey, everybody, the targets are being hit. Where is that? Right here. The target from my daily update is being hit right now. You see that? Being hit right now, trying to give everybody an alert. It might be a good time to consider dollar cost averaging. Anyway, so for the people who dollar cost average, during that time, after my target was hit, I let them know, hey, I think this is moving up straight to 41.2, maybe as high as 43.5. In that specific guess, I thought it would happen over the next 2 days, not in 2 days. However, I thought that was the next move up. And guess what price is done? It got up to 42K. It's hit my box, albeit at 1 day earlier. However, I thought that was going to be the price move. I thought it was going to hesitate here just a little bit, but no. It actually blew past this blue line. And that was my next target. And that would be super helpful for fans of Trias, so you can understand before markets move, before I upload YouTube videos, what I think of Bitcoin, because this asset moves with Bitcoin. All right? And you would have been picking up Trias right here at that 37K dip, with that lead. I have a lot of Trias fans in my community. All right. And very similar analysis to the other two coins for folks who are watching all three of these. I'm using the 1 hour 200 EMA. It's going to be key because it is in line with the daily 10. So the 1 hour 200, for whatever reason, it stays pretty dang close to the daily 10. This is the weekly 10. I'm using the MTF indicator so I can see the weekly EMA while we are on the 1 hour chart. So if we zoom into this area here, you can see that Trias has gotten above. It hasn't used it as support. So I would suspect that Trias is going to come down here, ride this for a little bit, and then so after you see that signal, you want to go check out Bitcoin to make sure it's not falling and nothing crazy is happening. If Bitcoin is still having relatively green 4 hour candles, nothing's tanking, the daily candle's still green, I would then suspect that Trias, won't move like that. You can't go left, Tim. Here, let's try that again. I think it's going to come down here, ride this line, and then give a try up closer to the weekly 10. But because the weekly 10 is such a far distance away from current price, I don't see a 35% move in the next few days. I think it's going to come up short and hit this horizontal right here. So I think it has a strong chance, with the assumption Bitcoin's move to the upside does not end soon. Okay, so listen carefully. keep an eye on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's move up doesn't get destroyed within the next couple days, okay, and it stays steady and or up, I think the next, like, under those conditions only, I think that $5.56 is a pretty darn good target for Trias to hit, and specifically, I think it's going to come up short of its weekly 10 EMA. The weekly 10 EMA is pretty close. But it's way up here, and it's a little too far away. So the other two altcoins that I've covered today, I think the weekly 10 is a good target, but for Trias, I specifically think it is not a good target. It's too high. There is a big obstacle before there, and $5.56 would be my target. And again, so for the first thing for Trias, I think it's going to come down, dance on top of the 1 hour 200 EMA first. And then after you see that happen, okay, if you wanted to go try a play or something to that effect, and try to pick some up before you do that. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not giving you a call to action to do that. But if you were to independently choose for yourself to do that, I would make the suggestion, if I were doing that, or if I were in your shoes, I would, before I made that trigger, I would go look at Bitcoin, make sure it's still looking good, and then I would go target $5.56 as my target. Go ahead and click this video right here if you missed my Bitcoin announcement from Sunday, a very major announcement that capitulation could be imminent. And click this video if you missed my Bitcoin analysis from today, which is Monday, the last day of February the 28th. And click the circle in the middle. If you're new to my channel, you just got Simplified Worldwide. Peace.